And I would say to here in Ralph, I am aware that within St. Vincent and Grenadines, from time to time, you give people who make economic contributions, and we're talking about foreigners who make significant economic contributions, you give them citizenship.
So if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones.
So Gaston Browne, the Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda, fires back at the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves, for some comment that he made a few weeks ago. But my question is, was the Prime Minister of St. Vincent wrong? Let's talk about it. So the Citizen by Investment program in the Caribbean, this has been like a big conversation since 2025. And this all started with the Trump administration coming in office and a lot of the things that they were doing, the executive orders that they signed on day one. And this has been in the front page of the media since. And I was one of the first person on YouTube to talk about it. So go check out this video. This video is almost at 500,000 views. And this was one of the first videos talking about this whole Citizen by Investment program. So it's going to be right there. So just go check it out. But the thing is now, this Ralph Gonsalves, a few weeks ago, he came out publicly. I don't know if he was in Antigua Barbuda or where he was, but it's obvious that he wasn't in St. Vincent. And I don't know if this was prompted, if he was asked about the program, but he had some words for the leaders in the Caribbean islands that are part of this program. So just in case you forgot what the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines said, this is a reminder.
I have warned this country about the dangers of selling our passports and selling our citizenship. I don't want to go through all the arguments now because you know them, you're listening to me. I said I'm opposed to selling the passports and the citizenship in principle. I'm opposed on the grounds of practicality. I'm opposed on the grounds that it is not sustainable and that it is reckless to run your country's finances on selling passport and citizenship. No. You see the Americans under President Trump saying that has to come to an end. Yeah, Canada is the same thing. Britain, they start to say they're taking away. You have to apply for visa now from certain of those countries. And the Europeans now have put it inside of their parliament. Parliamentary committee in the European Union Parliament has already addressed that question. It's going through the parliamentary process. It's just a matter of time. I saw it coming. It took a little longer because they give them some time to clean up. But I know that the money is so sweet for everybody. They weren't going to do any cleanup. Because if you really, really clean up, there's not a lot of money.
Okay, so that was the voice of the Prime Minister, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves. And I did a video reacting to it. And I understood some of what he was saying. I agreed with a lot of his point. But in listening to that audio, the first thing that came to my mind at the time when I was reacting to this audio was that the other leaders in the Eastern Caribbean islands, they're not going to be happy about this. Because the reality is that the Eastern Caribbean bloc, like, it's pretty much like a united bloc right there in the Eastern Caribbean where they have their own currency. And the quality of life in the Eastern Caribbean, I would say, is way better than the region itself in terms of CARICOM and in terms of the Caribbean region. And they have done a good job in the Eastern Caribbean in terms of forming that alliance, having a central bank, having their own currency. So for one of the leader in that bloc calling them out about a program that we have to admit this program was very, very beneficial to the Eastern Caribbean in terms of infrastructure, and that's undeniable. So I knew that this was going to be a problem, but I didn't know who was going to come publicly and react to it. So Gaston Browne took up the mantle and said, you know what? This is unfortunate that one of our own would just come out and call us out publicly like that. If there's an issue, like we have a union, we have a block, why not, come and talk to us in like a private, respectable manner. So Gaston Browne did not take lightly of the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines calling them out so publicly. So this is the reaction from Gaston Browne, the Prime Minister of Antigua, Barbuda.
No different than the one in Canada. It's no different than those in the European Union. I also want to say to Ralph that we have not published a single application without appropriate due diligence, which includes international due diligence agencies and regional institutions, global institutions, including Interpol and impacts here within the Caribbean region, or JRCC for that matter. So this notion that there's a lot of corruption and we are processing applications without due diligence and so on, I want to say certainly in the case of Antigua and Barbuda, your information is flawed. And even if, Ralph, you are speculating that there may be corruption in other programs, I do not appreciate your literally treating us with a broad brush and to implicate one of the best run investment immigration programs in the world, the Antiguan and Barbudan program, with the type of adjectives and mismanagement and corruption that you're talking about. And I would say to here, Ralph, I am aware that within St. Vincent and Grenadines, from time to time, you give people who make economic contributions, and I'm talking about foreigners who make significant economic contributions, you give them citizenship. It's an extremely unfortunate and irresponsible statement coming from Ralph, and you must respect the sovereign decision of these four countries. If you choose to have our CIP program, that has nothing to do with you. You choose not to have one, we respect your decision.
Trump has one.
And look at the situation there, for example, with Trump. So why you don't say that the $5 million CIP program that Trump is introducing is corrupt? How come intrinsically you're going to now point to your colleague programs and say they're corrupt? And look, even if there are abuses in these programs in the past, the reality is all of us have now come together. We are forming this regional regulatory body to regulate our programs. These programs have matured. And I will even accept that perhaps in some of the programs they may not have been as vigilant as they ought to, and maybe certain unfortunate things may have happened. But it's not that leaders in this region are intrinsically involved in any corruption and trying to facilitate corrupt players. And that's the implication of what Ralph would have said. Now, the fact that we've come together now and that we're harmonizing our programs and we're making sure that there's better cooperation and collaboration. The United States, for example, gave us 6 points that we introduced in our program to our respective programs in order to strengthen our programs. We're working with the European Union and the Brits. And having been involved in this level of international collaboration and cooperation to strengthen our programs, why would Ralph see it fit to go there and to tear down our programs? It is totally inappropriate.
Okay, so that was the reaction from the Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda, Gaston Browne. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. Who do you side with? Do you think that Ralph Gonsalves, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, do you think he has a point in terms of the Citizen by Investment program? Is that pretty much just selling passport? And when he said that it's not sustainable and he hint like corruption would have been one of the reasons why they would not have stopped the program despite the warning from the European Union and from the United Kingdom, are you on the side of the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or are you on the side of the Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda saying like, look, we are sovereign nations in the Caribbean, this program is very beneficial in terms of infrastructure. You saw in that clip, he mentioned that it helped them in terms of building like hotels and adding to tourism in the Eastern Caribbean region. So, and as I said, like, there's no doubt about it. Like, a lot of the islands, the islands that are part of it, you see the quality of life in those islands, a good quality of life that more than likely they would not have been able to achieve without this program. But could they have done better? Could they have adjusted in terms of doing better with the program? Sound off in the comment section and let me know, are you team Gaston Browne or team Ralph Gonsalves? Here at Carib 21, I'm on a mission to showcase the vibrant culture and the breathtaking beauty of the Caribbean while showcasing our culture and what is trending. If you want to support me on this mission, please subscribe. And if you also want to support, you can hit the comment section and buy me a cup of coffee. In order to buy me a cup of coffee, you can follow these instructions. Just click more. You will see the link to buy me a cup of coffee. Click the link. You can purchase 1 or 2 cups of coffee and you'll be helping me to fulfill this mission. Thank you. And to be honest, I thought that this program, the Citizen by Investment program, was a great program in terms of the money that was generated from that to develop, as I said, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Antigua, Barbuda, those islands, as I said, good quality of life for the people there, and it would have been possible because of this program. And in terms of like wealthy people, because there are people that have a genuine problem that people can just use their money and buy whatever, pay their way through life. And I don't necessarily see it that way. Like if you are a millionaire and you're living in, say, like Sweden, and you went to one of these beautiful islands and you're like, wow, like this place is beautiful. I need to get out of the cold, and I could see myself living in the Caribbean. If you decide that you're going to go to the Caribbean, invest millions, whether in euro or in US dollars, like I'm all for it. My problem with the program, and that is something that came up recently, was that a lot of people that purchase this program, they are not living in the Caribbean. So they would take like 120,000 US dollars. They would pay the application fee. I'm not sure how much of that money goes to the state or how much goes to take care of the lawyers and the process to go through this process. And I pointed it out in a video with a very popular African YouTuber, Teo from Nigeria, that did this process, and he did a video about it. And that was when I first realized that, look, there are a lot of people that partake in this program, but they're not living in the Caribbean island. So that was my biggest problem with this program, that yes, is it sustainable for people to take part in this program, a one-time fee of $120,000, $200,000, and then they never live in the Caribbean island. They just have access because of the passport. That was my biggest problem. I don't have any problem with people who are business people who are millionaires, people who are going to invest, who are going to buy property in the Caribbean. They're going to pay property tax. They're going to open a business there. They're going to employ people. I have no problem with that. But my only problem was that when I found out that people, you can just buy these passports and never even set foot in the island. And I think that was one of the biggest problem that the European Union and the UK, that was one of their biggest problem also. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Are you Team Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Do you think that this program, that the islands that are part of this program could have done better in terms of adjusting this program? Do you think that, as Ralph said, that this program was not sustainable and that there's a level of corruption in the program that could have been avoided? Or are you Team Gaston Browne in terms of like, look, this Citizen by Investment program is something that helped out the Eastern Caribbean islands a lot in terms of infrastructure, in terms of helping them to develop and now to have a tourism product in the Eastern Caribbean? Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.